The NB Network with Dee's Fodder.
Hey, it's me, Dee. Welcome to the NB Network. How are you doing today, my friend? I hope today catches you well. I'm getting ready to actually leave later today and go on a mini vacation with my family. Hopefully I'll get this video up before I go, or maybe I can get it up while I'm on the road. I don't know. I know I'm supposed to have Wi-Fi at some point, so we're going to try and get this up for y'all, okay? And today is another true crime tarot reading. And today's case is just a little different. And it was something that people had kind of voted high up on in a previous poll. So I finally am going to sit down and dive on in. You ever hear the phrase of "the devil made me do it"? Well, in the 70s, comedian Flip Wilson coined this catchphrase. And it's often used to excuse behavior that isn't normally in our nature to do, or your nature to do. It's usually done in kind of a cheeky way with kind of a wink wink and a smile. Very coy. Now, this catchphrase, it was merely a joke. And I doubt anyone could imagine that this little catchphrase joke could actually be used as an excuse in a court of law in a case of murder. Yes, you heard me right. Now, the famous couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were part of building up a defense for Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, who killed his landlord. Yeah, what? Yeah, the couple, the Warrens, they've helped quite a few people and their families who were dealing with hauntings and demonic possessions. While some claim they are a fraud, others saw them as heroes. Yeah, they had that museum that's full of occult items and items supposedly possessed, such as the infamous doll Annabelle. Now, the Warrens claim that a demon that was in Arnie's girlfriend's brother transferred to Arnie during an exorcism. And Arnie claims that he killed his landlord because he was possessed and that he was not responsible for the killing. Now, if you want to hear a little bit more about this unusual and historic case, please stick around. However, if you want to jump on ahead to the psychic tarot reading, you'll find the chapter links down below. All right? And I will see you soon. Hey, welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. Can you believe that an attorney attempted to use the "devil made me do it" defense in a court of law? But it did happen. And Arnie was, or friends who knew him more as Cheyenne, he was the first to use it in a modern day court. Yeah, this really, really did happen. And there are plenty of documentaries and film and TV shows, reenactments, exaggerated things about this really bizarre case. You know, just recently, this summer, this year came out Conjuring, the third movie in the series, which is also called The Devil Made Me Do It. And it's based on all this. Apparently, this all started when a child named David Glatzel, his sister Debbie, who was dating Cheyenne, Arnie, became allegedly possessed. Arnie and Debbie wanted to rent a house away from the city, and they put all their money that they had in it, and they kind of like felt stuck that they had to stay there. And well, they wanted to stay there. And in fact, Arnie's mother was supposed to move in with them. Well, this house had a lot of work needed to be done on it. It needed to be cleaned up. Okay. And David was younger. He showed up to help his sister and her boyfriend to clean up the house. But he discovered that the previous people living there had left a bed behind in one of the bedrooms. And while he was in there, David claims to have been pushed by an old man in the house in there. And it scared him. And so he went running out and he wouldn't come back in the house. Now, Debbie just thought, well, my little brother just doesn't want to clean. He's just trying to get out of work. So she was like, fine, stay out here. Don't get in any trouble. Play, have fun, whatever. We'll get back to cleaning. Okay. Ooh, I've been having an asthma attack. The smoke is so bad. The coffee helps. Now, that evening, Arnie and Debbie were back at Judy Glatzel's house. And Judy is Debbie and David's mother. Now, David that evening claimed that this old man was following him and said they better not return to the house. Kind of ominous for a little boy to be saying this, right? Now, Arnie and Debbie at first were hesitant that evening to believe that, this is old man. And then they experienced something that they believed to be paranormal that evening. Is stuff happening up above them in the attic where there was supposed to be nobody else. And so the very next day, they decided to move out and not stay there. And this upset Arnie's mother. She was like, no, just give me the keys. I'm going to stay here. She was like, whatever. You know what? I already, I already put in saying I'm moving out of my apartment. Now I have no place to live. You guys are pretty much screwing me over. So just give me the keys and I'm going to stay here. Now, Arnie and Debbie still refused to. And Judy was like, it's fine. You guys can stay here as long as you need to. Now, not moving in apparently did not send this old man away that David was seeing. And things were escalating as David was seeing this old man at night, like, turn into a beast. It seemed the old man, this entity, had lashed onto David and followed him back to his home. And poor David began experiencing night terrors. And Arnie, Debbie, and Judy saw David being attacked by an invisible being during these times. They felt helpless because they could see bruises and scratches and, he's being hurt. And David would be screaming for help. So, yeah, they decided, let's call a priest for help. Maybe there's something to this. So the priest said, yeah, it could possibly be a demonic possession, but he needed proof before the church would authorize an exorcism. The priest did give them some holy candles and prayers and other religious holy items to use that night to protect them. But it didn't go so well. Apparently, it really kind of backfired. The Glatzels, Debbie Glatzels, I am tongue-tied. I can't even going to tell you. I bit the side of my tongue, so I'm trying to talk. I'm sorry. But Debbie and Judy claimed that things just escalated. And they reached out to the priest who had shown up, and he came the very next day to perform a cleansing of the home. And everyone was like, oh, it feels so much better. This is going to help. But it didn't. Nothing. Apparently, what they say, nothing. It didn't help at all. And so this is when the Warrens come in. The priest contacted Ed and Lorraine to see if they would come and help. The priest's like, this child is suffering and we can't, we don't know what to do. So pretty much Ed and Lorraine were like, well, do you need us to come like now? And the priest was like, that would be helpful. And so they pretty much drop everything and just head on over. And this was all in Connecticut, okay? So we know that, everyone's kind of close by. Now, the Warrens claim to have seen evidence of demonic possession. Lorraine saw a dark presence hovering beside David. Apparently, David's reaction to holy items also verified proof of demonic possession. Now, growing up in a Pentecostal church, I was taught about angels and demons and the attachment of demons, not the same as possession. And, in Bible seminary, they also talk about this, the prayer for deliverance to help a person to send away the demon or demons that are trying to attach to a person. And this is very different from what the Catholics are taught. The Pentecostal church and many others, it's more of the demons trying to attach themselves. They're whispering in your head, trying to get you to do things or think things and confuse you and affect you, your health. And that's more of along the line. It's not that the demon has possession of you. You see, a real possession would be in my old church would have been when the person actually invites the demon or spirit to possess them. There's no such thing as accidentally being tricked by touching something or living somewhere and get possessed. Okay, that's not. You gotta invite this motherfucker in. Okay, it's like, okay, yeah, come on in. Well, at least that's how I was raised, and it seems a little bit more accurate to me personally. But there's different beliefs and different faiths for different reasons, for reasons, because maybe there's like a middle ground. I don't know. Honestly, the whole it all totally works. Anyway, the Warrens verified demonic possession, and the priest gets approved to do the exorcism. And the Warrens were present with the priest and David's family for David's exorcism. And it's claimed that it was really hard on David, and the demon was not letting go. And so this is when we get to the nitty-gritty, okay? During this exorcism, Arnie is so upset about what's happening to David that he challenges the demon to take him on and to leave the boy alone. He's basically offers himself to the demon to free David. And supposedly the demon left David. And this is when Arnie was possessed. But then we get another story talking about the exact moment he supposedly was possessed. We'll get to this, okay? Now, the Warrens were concerned about what Arnie had done. I mean, David was free, though, and the family were relieved. And supposedly, after this possession, David was being attacked by the demon and allegedly actually took control of Arnie's car and forced it into a tree. But, he was unharmed, so that's supposedly good, right? And then after this incident, Arnie returned back to the rental property to examine this old well that supposedly housed the demon. I'm giving you the story here, folks. It's just there's a few little holes, and I think maybe things aren't being. This is all. I mean, I did a lot of research, so this is why I'm like, there's things that conflict in these stories that don't make sense to me, but maybe they make sense to someone else. I'm just going to tell you what I discovered, okay? And now in both the dramatized versions of the that you could find on TV, like in A Haunting, Arnie talks about how there was this final encounter with the demon that he was ever completely lucid. And he claims that after seeing the demon and they made eye contact, he made eye contact with the demon as well, that, he was actually fully possessed by then. Okay? I'm trying to do this with a straight face. Oh, I can't. But we'll go on. As David's condition, Arnie's condition worsened, I said David, I'm sorry, I meant Arnie. Debbie and Arnie decide, they've been living in Judy's home. That's Debbie's mom's home with David and his other sibling. And they decide, we just need to move. So Debbie, she was a pet groomer at a kennel. And her boss there is Alan Bono. Now, please remember Alan Bono. I think in this whole story, we forget the victim here. And so this man, he managed the kennel, and he had an apartment above the kennel. He also was when Debbie and Arnie wanted to move in, Alan has apartments that he and he was their landlord. They went and rented one of his apartments. So she was closer to the kennel, and so her boss was also her landlord. Now, after moving in, they start, Arnie starts to just really exhibit some really odd behaviors that resembled what David had been doing. Well, that's according to Debbie. And so this is when Debbie starts going, I wonder if he's possessed. She says that he would fall in these trance-like states, and he would growl and hallucinate, and then have no memory of any of that happening. This is just what these two are saying. Now, this is the dreadful day. February 16th, 1981. Johnson Arnie he calls in sick at his job. He trimmed trees. So it's his right tree service, and he decided to join Debbie at the kennel where she worked, along with Debbie, his sister Wanda, and one of Debbie's cousins, who was only 9, Mary. Now they're all there, and Bono, or Alan Bono, he decides he wants to buy this whole group lunch. And so they go to this local bar, and he just proceeds to drink heavily. And apparently Alan was known to be a heavy drinker, so it wasn't uncommon. Now, after this lunch, the group did return to the kennel, and then Debbie decided she was going to take the girls to get pizza. I know they just... But because Debbie says she just kind of felt something was off, and she wanted to get the girls out of there. And was like, no, hurry and return. Don't be gone long. So they leave. She's kind of feeling like there's some tension she started noticing between Arnie and Alan. And when they returned, Alan was extremely intoxicated at this point. And he was behaving very agitated. So everyone leaves this room, Debbie, because Debbie's like, get out of here, except for, Alan doesn't. And Alan allegedly grabs Mary and refuses to let go of this 9-year-old little girl. And Arnie isn't in the room right now, okay? He had already went back and was waiting, ready to head back to the apartment. He was supposedly at the car waiting for the girls. Okay? And then he heads back because they're not coming out, and he sees Alan holding Mary. And Wanda, the cousin, she explains that she sees, Arnie come back, and he tells Alan to let Mary go. And so then Mary ran for the car, and Debbie was trying to get between the two men to not fight. And then Wanda, she says she tried to pull Arnie away, but he began growling like an animal and drew out his knife and began to stab Alan Botto repeatedly. Oh, wow. That's an escalation of things, I do believe. So Alan passes away several hours later, and according to Alan's attorney, or to Arnie's attorney, sorry, Alan suffered 4 or 5 wounds, stab wounds, and mostly in the chest, and one that stretched from his stomach to the base of his heart. Arnie had been discovered a couple of miles from the site of the killing, and was being held at Bridgeport Correctional Center on bail of $125,000. This little town, Brookfield, they never had any kind of unlawful killing. Only lawful, I suppose. Never mind. It's a bad joke. But so this was a first. Now, the Warrens do find out about this. And the very next day after the killing, Lorraine informed the police that, Arnie was possessed when this crime was committed. And the media got a hold of this. And it just, whoosh, stories. And people were like, what? And having the Warrens, who had already, been established as these prominent figures who handle, they're these prominent demonologists and people who, help, Amityville and everything. So people were like, it was a blitz. And people wanted them to come and do lectures. There was books, movies. They wanted to get all this stuff. And yeah, in fact, Arnie's lawyer was receiving calls from all around the world. And they were calling this the Demon Murder Trial. The Demon Murder Trial. Oh, yeah. Now, the lawyer, he had been involved in 2 similar cases, but they actually never went to trial. So this would be the first time. So he planned to fly in all these exorcism specialists from Europe and even threatened to subpoena priests who oversaw David's exorcism if they didn't cooperate with the defense. So it was like, you have to cooperate and collaborate with me, or else, it's like, I will subpoena these people if you don't back me and my client here. Oh, yeah. Now, the trial took place in Connecticut's Superior Court in Danbury, and it began October 28th, 1981. And the attorney, Manila, I believe, he attempted to submit a plea of not guilty, a virtue of possession. Yes, that was the plea. But the judge was like, no. Judge Robert Callahan just said no. And then he argued that, the judge explained, arguing that you can't use a defense like that ever in a court of law because it lacks scientific evidence. This was irrelative and unscientific to allow any kind of related testimony about being possessed. They were like no-nos. So they ended up changing the story, changing the plea to more of this was an act in self-defense. Now, the jury was never told about this possible possession at all. It was not allowed. So they only heard that this was a possible act in self-defense. And they deliberated over 15 hours over a 3-day period, okay? And they ended up convicting Arnie Johnson on November 24th, 1981 of first-degree manslaughter, and he was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, but he only had to serve 5. Really, he only served 5. Now, Debbie and Arnie got married. They're married. Yes. Even after all of that happened, she stayed by her man. Now, if you talk to David, and you don't hear much about David's older brother, Carl Glatzel Jr., do you? No, because he has wanted absolutely nothing to do with this whole thing of possession and Arnie blaming it on the devil. Seriously. You see, David and Carl kind of have a different story about what happened. And as Carl would explain, David struggled with mental illness when he was younger, and he was having hallucinations. And that this whole story of him being possessed was kind of concocted by other people and the Warrens getting involved. And it was really a traumatizing time for David and Carl, the family. And David will not do anything because he does not want to have to relive this experience. It has caused so many troubles in his life, you see, because he's recognizable. The stigma of being possessed really pretty much ruined David's life and his ability for getting certain jobs, and just being bullied at school about this. He's never been able to live a normal life. Carl says this was very disruptive to the family and harmful. And now Lorraine and the Warrens, they published a book about, what had happened, the whole possession of David and Arnie. And, well, Carl, a few years after this book was out in 2007, did try and sue Lorraine because she was still alive at the time. But the case was dropped. So what really did happen? David and Carl resent these movies and the books and the shows that claim to depict what happened. They refuse to have anything to do with it and believe that Arnie and Debbie are exploiting a very traumatizing experience David went through as a child and using this as an excuse for Arnie committing murder, and they're making money off of this. So, what happened? What do you think? Well, let's dive on in and see what the cards have to show us. Hi, it's me, Dee. And welcome back. Please remember that this tarot psychic reading is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. And I hope, maybe we're going to see something in these cards. I'm not quite sure. I don't know about this case. There's things that, okay, maybe it could be, but there's some things that don't make sense. Why would it be possessed, I don't know. Something's off. Let's see. This card. Oh. Okay, let's see here. Can you see this card? All right, that's the Star. And it's in reverse. Oh. Oops, this one just flew out at me. Queen of Swords. Yeah. So I'm seeing a woman who's not being forthright. Okay. Let's see here. Make sure that these are... So I have a different setup. I'm still testing here with the cards. So be patient, please, while I make sure everyone can see what I'm seeing here. And you know, in this one, you know, the person, she's praying for help. Okay. And it's the Star, and it's in reverse. So, you know, if it was upright, I'd be like, oh, this is such good news. But this is bad. There's like a bad omen, kind of a darkness. Definitely. But the Queen of Swords, she gets me. She really does. Because she's usually very blunt, confident. But I'm seeing, you know, I'm seeing here that when she just really, with it reversed, it just means whatever this person was doing didn't work. They're really very intelligent normally and are great at communicating, but something that she did was not effective. And the Seven of Swords, this is all looking back, you know, and it was done very clumsily. So this darkness, this something's not coming. I need some, you know, get some clarifying cards to add to this. What is... Oh, shoot. Don't. Well, oh me, oh my. So, okay, so the King of Pentacles, he's upside down here, and that's we're dealing with something with, you know, greed. But, you know, there's someone who's, you know, wants a whole, you know, it's a very sinister, greedy feel. And then we have the Devil card, which usually means that there's like, you know, I'm seeing like drugs involved, and then this person wasn't strong enough. I wonder if they did a drug test on Arnie. I don't know. You know, and here is the Strength, and it's reversed, and it's over this whole reckless and ineffective stuff going on here. Not having the strength, the wherewithal, which kind of brings me to this whole... Oh, wait a minute. No, this isn't the Strength card. I am so sorry. That's the Sun. Ah! The Sun, that means failure. Complete. So, money troubles, drugs. Not feeling stuck, can't get away. Lack of funds to get away. Feeling overwhelmed and stuck. And love. Well, a contract between two people that a relationship, a failing in a relationship. That's... I don't like what I'm seeing, folks. And the Emperor. The Eight of Cups. Regrets, looking back. Wanting to start a new love. Folks, this is just turned to... I'm... wondering... Oh. Yeah. There's the Four of Wands. There's something in it. There's a relationship that's not doing well. That was not well. Okay. Greed, and we're getting some of the same cards back here. And, hoarding of money. There's the... This is the Strength card. Why was Alan killed? They were in some financial trouble. They were really in some financial trouble. Debbie and Arnie, financial trouble. Yeah, see, here's the two of Aces, Pentacles, with the two people. They were involved with something very shady, underhanded. And this was a very rushed out thought, and maybe Debbie wanted a raise, wasn't getting it. Maybe they couldn't afford the rent, and it was affecting her job. But I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, Alan took him to dinner. Maybe he was just trying to, feeling, they would just, oh gosh. Really, they cannot handle finances. This story, they saw it as an opportunity. I think with David originally, that was an opportunity for money, and I see just this spiraling after that, and trying to make Arnie seem like this hero to the family. But I'm seeing other people not seeing Arnie as supposedly having been as close as what we're being led to believe. And I think the Warrens were even kind of manipulated. I see that in this situation. I think Arnie, because did lose his temper. Lover's Court. Did I think Debbie was having an affair with Alan? Just a relationship keeps popping up, and I'm wondering if David's experience kind of was used to, I'm going to grab another deck of cards here. They weren't making the money that they thought they would have from the story of their haunting, and the Warrens working with them. I think things were not moving fast enough. But I also see there's a love triangle going on and disharmony. Yeah, the Four of Pentacles. Not paying attention to what they do have. Yeah, that they were wasteful with the funds. I think that was causing a lot of stress in their finances. No, Hans reverse. This card, you can't see it. It is. Do you see? Can you see what's there? I mean, you could kind of, that's. Oh, man, I just, folks. There's just so much. They're just really things took a turn for the worst. Okay, now look at the Four of Wands here. Let me see. An angel looking over. Now, normally, some people would say the Four of Wands is like a celebration of a wedding or something, but here, I am getting more of a feel. Debbie, maybe Arnie didn't feel Debbie was making enough money. Being impatient. And the Knight of Swords, that's really just... I think Arnie didn't think Debbie could be trusted. Yeah, the High Priestess. He was extremely jealous and felt out of, being isolated by Debbie. And Alan, he kind of thought he was seeing too much, and that triggered his anger. Now, was it because he was possessed? Three of Wands. He was... Oh, Debbie's mom wanting to make money. They just... This... And the Lovers reversed. Yeah. Breaking up. Folks. Something's not adding up with the story of what Arnie and Debbie say that took place with Alan Bono. And there might have been something more between Alan and Debbie. Or Arnie thought there was. And in more of a jealous rage. But I also see, like with the Devil card, I'm just seeing that he is binding himself. Arnie pretty much, if he was in bondage or possessed, this was self-induced mentally to believe he was. So not have to take accountability for his actions. Now he might say, "Oh, I served my time." Yeah, 5 years, taking another man's life. That clearly doesn't come out, and it doesn't sound like it was really self-defense. He had no weapon on him. Artie's the one who pulled the knife. This is my opinion on this, folks. I don't think the devil made him do it. I think he talked it into himself into thinking this. I mean, you want to separate, how could I have done something so truly awful? I think Debbie is staying with Arnie, or has been, and married him because to try and keep the story going, because hello, they can make lots of money off of all this. But I think they don't know how to... I think there's a lot of mismanagement of funds, and it could be because of drugs, but I don't really see them taking drugs. Yeah. But it could be. Yeah, there maybe, I think there was some of that. Maybe that's why the money was going so fast. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the drugs were involved. It caused the confusion, and he wasn't seeing straight, and the money was going fast because they wanted to buy more. I really wonder if they did a drug test on Arnie. I wonder what it would have shown. Or even on Alan. Well, folks, sometimes we want the devil to be the excuse for our actions, and perhaps in our own way that we can manifest that to be so by believing it's possible. But I don't think there was a possession. And maybe poor little David wasn't possessed, and he was just having hallucinations. And maybe, the possession was a cover-up because some people don't want to admit and mental illness is real. They see that as a weakness, and so maybe the Warrens were fooled. I just see a lot of lies and deception and this dark cloud that was trying to cover what was really going on. And I think everyone was just trying to do what Judy was saying needed to be done for her son. And something with Judy I'm feeling off with. And I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something. And I don't feel like diving door into it because it just seems like a big dark hole of badness, darkness. I think she saw an opportunity herself with making money when the Warrens got involved. And maybe she used David's mental illness to make this feel so, and yeah, this is a sad story. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button. And make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when the next time I pull up another video. Hopefully I'll get this edited and posted tonight or tomorrow morning. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Let's get this done. I do love you all. You all are in the comments and the talking back and forth and sharing of ideas. It's wonderful to see, and I do try to engage with you guys, and I just love the stuff that is, you guys are coming up with. It's been a nice ride so far. So I hope you want to continue this journey with me and give me some more suggestions. I know there's a few people are like, come on. There's a few suggestions on the last poll people really want me to dive into also. But there's other ones too. So I'm trying to get through so many, and it just whatever I feel was resonating. I've started work on another case, but I didn't feel right to do it, so I dropped it and did this instead. And that happens, and I just have to go with the flow of, if I'm vibing or not with something. I guess is the best way to say it. And I am looking forward to getting on this vacation. I've got a lot to do. I got a lot of packing because, yeah, I got my kids are still in school, so it's like as soon as everyone gets home from work and school, we're taking off, and I gotta be ready. I hope you all are having a good time. I hope you take time for yourselves also. Self-care is so important. You need to remember to be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I love you. See you next time. Bye.